Hi, could somebody just let me know if you can hear me okay on the microphone, please?
Yep, we can hear.
Perfect, thank you. And I'm just going to share my screen.
That's great. Thanks, Guy. So good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the new Microsoft Cloud Partner Programme. My name is Jane Simons. I'm the Vendor Alliances Director at Fastlane in the UK. So we are going to spend the next 45 minutes taking you through the new Cloud Partner Programme. There's a little bit of housekeeping I just wanted to cover off with you. We will encourage you, Guy, if you can go to the next slide, please.
Yeah.
We will encourage you to ask questions during the event. If you can use the chat room, we will endeavour to answer all of your questions during the event. If we have time at the end of the webinar, we will open it up to Q&A. But what we're going to try and do is encourage you to ask questions, and then we can create a FAQ document that we can share with you at the end of the event. Also to say that we will share with you the slides from the event today as well. I'm going to be joined by my colleague Radhika. She heads up our channel sales. I'm sure a lot of you already know her. And we're also joined by Guy Gregory. He's the Microsoft Partner Technology Strategist who's going to be doing the lion's share of the webinar. Unfortunately, Jeroen is unable to join us today through illness, but I think we've got a lot of content to get through. And I'm going to give you a quick overview on the Fastlane business for those of you that aren't familiar with us. That's great. So for those of you that aren't familiar with Fastlane, we are a global gold Microsoft Learning Partner. We have been for over 10 years now. We have quite a strong global footprint with offices in over 45 countries, and we are Microsoft certified trainers and open hack coaches. We have in the region of about 500 Microsoft SMEs in our pool. We do deliver all of the 8 open hack tracks globally. If any of you are interested in the open hacks, we also do the Azure Adventure Days as well. If anyone wants any more information on these, put that in the chat and we can share that with you. And we also, in the last 12 months, trained in excess of 36,000 students in Microsoft Education. We are also the company that hosts the TechHer Digital Academy in the UK, and we've included the link there. If you have any UK-based female employees that want to get a certification in the foundation tracks, the fundamental tracks, we have that available on that platform. We've included an anecdote from one of our global partners where we skilled around 2,000 students for them in Azure. So we've just kept in there an anecdote from Deloitte's, and we can share that with you on the deck. So any questions, please post them in the chat. And Guy, over to you. Thank you.
Thank you, Jane. Thank you very much, Fastlane, as well, for having me on today. Really appreciate the opportunity to present to the partners that you're working with around the new Microsoft Cloud Partner Programme. This is something which a lot of our partners are asking us about at the moment. And just to give you a quick intro in terms of who I am, I'm a partner technology strategist aligned to some of our UK GSI partners. I have a particular focus on skilling and enablement, and one of the things which hopefully most of our partners will have realised by now is that the new Cloud Partner Programme really depends very heavily on skilling. So it's an area where I've been tracking over the last few months, and wanted to share some of those learnings with the broader partner community. So to kind of open this up, I mean, the way that the world and how we work is rapidly changing, as we all know, and the opportunities for Microsoft partners, whether you sell services, software solutions, or devices, are really significant. And as the capabilities required by our customers have evolved, our partner programs have to also evolve to meet those demands. So from that, we've come up with this new Microsoft Cloud Partner Program. It was announced back in March and will be coming online in October. Even though it's not actually live today, you can still do many things to prepare for that October date, but bear in mind you still do have some time yet until it launches in October. There are essentially 3 tiers to this new program. The network member is the entry level, which all of our partners will be part of. Then there's this solutions partner tier, which is the focus of the presentation today. And then above that is our specializations and expert level, which is out of scope for today, but then there's not so much changing on that aspect. And you can think of the solutions partner tier as the evolution of our silver and gold competencies today. So, and if you're a partner who has a silver or gold competency, this is something which should be really important to you. And if you're a partner that has advanced specializations, or specializations as they will be known in the new program, or Azure Expert MSP, it's also important to know about these, because these solution partner designations are prerequisites for those specializations. And in terms of the way that we kind of built this program, it is focused on 3 particular areas you can see here. We're measuring performance, skilling.
I just want to let you know it's still on the main slide for me. I'm not sure if it's the same for everyone else. So can someone just
the changes to the program key updates. Yeah. So at the moment, so the 3 particular areas: performance is measured by net customer adds. Skilling is verifies your skills and training, and particular focus on intermediate and advanced or role-based certifications. And then customer success is all about usage growth and the number of solution deployments. And the focus of today's session, again, will be on this skilling section here. Because of that, because we're only going to go deep into skilling, if you want more of a broader overview of the program as a whole, I highly recommend the on-demand recording, which is available to all partners. And I've included it as a link at the end of this deck, which you will be getting afterwards. So for the program itself, these are the key dates to remember. So bear in mind that the announcement for this program was back in March. The last day to renew your legacy competency will be the 30th of September. And of course, that date will be kind of determined in a way by your own partner program anniversary date. So if your anniversary date is before that date, then you can renew into the current program. If it's after that date, then you'll only be able to renew into the new program. And after that date, after the 3rd of October, then the new program will take effect for all partners, whether they were enrolling after the 3rd of October or whether you've enrolled prior to the 3rd of October, and you'll be able to take advantage of these new solution partner designations. And of course, if you're a partner who has an anniversary date after the 3rd of October, then you'll be able to take advantage of the program, but things like your benefits will only change at the renewal dates. And partners do have access, by the way, and benefits is out of scope for this presentation, but it's possible if you do need to stick with your legacy benefits for the extra year, then you can purchase those legacy benefits for an extra year. So one other thing to note here actually is Microsoft Inspire, which is coming up in July, the 19th and 20th. We'll be providing a lot of communication and more information about this as part of that event. So mark your calendars for July the 19th and 20th. So this is what the new kind of program looks like. We have aligned the new program to our 6 solution areas, which are 3 Azure solution areas: modern work, security, and business applications. And for partners who are able to achieve all of the solutions partner designations, we also have this special one, which is on the end here, which is the solutions partner for Microsoft Cloud. And the nice thing that I think this program does is it aligns to not only our existing programs like the specializations and the other investments that we make, but we're also aligning all of our other benefits, go-to-market services, co-sale eligibility. All of that is going to align to this new program. I think that's something that partners have been asking for a while, because I think our competencies, as it stands today, there may be some areas where they don't quite fit the alignment that we have for the rest of the business. So I see that as a good thing moving forward for partners. So how do you attain one of these solution partner designations? Well, as I mentioned, we use the partner capability score across all of the 3 pillars, across performance, skilling, and customer success. This is a telemetry-based score, so there's no, subjectivity here. It's completely objective. It's a score which is generated based on your, in the case of skilling, it's based on the certified individuals, and it's a score from 0 to 100. And 70 points are required across all 3 pillars in order to gain that solutions partner designation. You also need to make sure that you have a score which is greater than 0 points in each subcategory. I'll come on to that later. Technically, it is possible to have a score which is less than 1 and decimal score, so you could have a 0.5 score, so which is why we say it has to be greater than 0 rather than 1 or more in each subcategory. The way that we score, the way that we calculate the score for each subcategory is documented in Microsoft Docs and Partner Center. And again, for skilling, we count the qualified individuals rather than the certifications that individual has specifically. And again, I'll go through that in more of an example later. In terms of the data freshness, the skilling data that enables this kind of metric is refreshed daily, and the data can be delayed up to 3 days from the date that one of the learners obtains a certification, or from the date that they link their learner account to Partner Center, whichever is later. So you might find that somebody in your organization's passed a certification on, let's say, March the 11th, and you can expect that those skilling points to reflect by March the 14th. Performance is measured, so I'm just reading the question in the chat here. Performance is measured by net customer adds. Does that mean that a partner's actual revenue or ACR level is not relevant? So the performance and customer adds piece is out of scope for today's session. The way that we measure that is based on, it varies depending on the category. So you might find that the performance in Azure will be different from the performance in BizApps, and all of the criteria are listed out in Partner Center. So you can have a look in Partner Center to see exactly how we measure it. Okay, so, and actually, before I move on, worth pointing out here, from the point of view of associating people, make sure that you do have everybody within your organization associated to Partner Center, otherwise they won't count. And also make sure that the people with the role-based certifications are renewing those role-based certifications, because currently they're valid for a year, yeah, they're valid for 1 year, and they can be renewed annually for free. Can I just get a sense check? Is my slideshow still showing on the screen? I don't see.
No, it's dropped, Guy.
It's dropped, has it? Let me just share it again. Sorry about this. Okay, how about now?
Yes, it's back.
Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so, and here's what it looks like. And I think the nice thing about this new system is we have simplicity for one thing. So we've essentially moved from 18 competencies down to just 6, which is great because they're aligned to our solution areas. We have consistency in terms of the system that we're using. So rather than each of those 18 competencies having a completely different way to achieve them, we're now aligning across these 3 particular areas. So performance, skilling, and customer success is common across all 6 of our solution area designations. Again, we've got alignment with the specializations, and I think the key to point out here is that if you look at the points that are available for skilling, 5 out of the 6 of these, and I'm counting 3 on the end there for Azure, 5 out of 6 of these designations allow half points just to come from skilling alone. So it really kind of drives home how important skilling is for this new program. Now, of course, you can't achieve any solution partner designation only with skilling. You do have to get over 70 points, and you also have to get more than 0 points in the other subcategories as well. And when I mention subcategories here, the example that I can give you is, so you need to have more than 0 points for net customer ads, you need to have more than 0 points for intermediate certifications, and you need to have more than 0 points for advanced certifications, which is an important point to make because it's more than just having more than 0 points in this category here. And then you also need to have more than 0 points in both usage growth and deployments as well. So I think it does benefit partners that have a very well-rounded approach here, even though we can still have partners that are perhaps stronger on skilling or perhaps stronger on customer success. So I think it does blend both, which is nice. Also worth saying that once you've achieved that 70-point threshold, there's no additional benefit for getting more than 70 points other than just having a buffer. If you have 99 points, you still have the same badge that you would achieve if you have 70 points. Yeah. And to kind of, as one way to share this and try to do a job of consolidating all of the information on one slide, I realized after I'd done this that it's quite challenging to summarize all 45 certifications that count towards the partner capability score on one slide. But I've made this available as a separate download. If you want to kind of view this offline, I will put the link in the chat window for you. But essentially what I've done is, rather than giving a solution area view of the new partner program, this view gives a skilling view of all of these solution areas. So when you look at the documentation, the documentation is based on the solution area. So it breaks down by solution area for all 3 categories. But if you look on this, it kind of goes across all solution areas, but only for skilling. So this doesn't cover the other areas. And so the link's in the chat window there if you want to have a look at that. This isn't meant to be a replacement for our documentation. So our documentation will continue to be the place to go for the latest information about how we calculate and which certifications are valid for these solution areas. I would say that the requirements will almost certainly change over time. I don't have anything to share today, but even with just new certifications being released, it makes sense that we are adjusting our program to make sure that we have those included. I will point out though that you may notice, those of you who are eagle-eyed, that the Azure prerequisites here on this documentation say 3. In our Microsoft Docs, it currently says 2 certified individuals. I've been asked by the partner program team that today our messaging and requirements is that we will require 3 as a prerequisite, and that we know that there is a bug in Partner Center and that it's only validating 2 at the moment. So do keep an eye on that. Hopefully we'll get greater clarity later on this month in terms of what that will look like. But for the time being, again, you can go based on this, and then hopefully Partner Center and the documentation will be updated shortly. Few just observations on this, just based on my, looking at this and my thoughts. Good question from Reese there. That's actually one of my observations. In fact, that was my first one, which is these are all role-based certifications except for Microsoft 365 fundamentals, which Reese is very keenly spotted. At the moment, the other fundamental certification don't contribute. So AZ 900, for example, doesn't contribute to Azure. But just be aware of that. That's a sort of slight nuance in the modern work solution area. One other thing, some of the certifications are included twice. So, for example, I think the Power Platform Developer Associate certification counts in digital and app innovation, and also BizApps. It's one of the 15 role-based Dynamics or Power Platform certifications that's in the BizApps. That does mean that an individual could potentially score in those 2 areas, and they may very well do that separately if they have different certifications as well. But of course, the individual is limited to the number of points that they can score based on this score here. So you can only score, as an individual, you can only score 4 points in Azure. You can only score 6.6 points in security, because we're measuring the number of people. We're not measuring the certifications. Another interesting thing to note here, that the number of points that a certified person gets varies very much from solution area to solution area. The reason for that, I think, is the weighting. So for example, BizApps, if you're in the larger markets track, then there's only 1 point per certification on the intermediate skills. Whereas if you look at the modern work advanced certifications, that's 15 points for 1 certification. So, and my advice there is do what's right for you, right? I mean, don't optimize your skill plan based on the number of points you're going to score. Optimize based on what the business needs. And in some cases that might be actually scoring lots of points, but to be honest with you, if you're a BizApps focused partner, then you're going to want to go down the BizApps solutions partner capability, solutions partner designation route, rather than the modern work one. So optimize for your own circumstances, and also think about your employee satisfaction as well. If you're going to dictate which certifications individuals are going to go for, bear in mind that sometimes they may want some flexibility within that as well. So perhaps if you're going down that BizApps route, give them the option, give them the option of one of the 15 that count, rather than being very prescriptive about what you need them to do. So I'll quickly go through these solution areas. I know I've mentioned some of these before, but I'll kind of go through. We can always go into a bit more detail. I've got a nice example where I can walk through this in more detail for you. So for Azure, the nice thing about the 3 Azure Solutions Partner designations, they're very similar. So all 3 include this prerequisite of 3 people with the Azure Admin Associate for intermediate, and for the advanced skilling, 3 people with the Azure Solutions Architect Expert. Those prerequisites are very specific at the moment to Azure. There are no other solution areas that have that prerequisite. And bear in mind that the prerequisites don't actually score any points. So you do need to get over that initial threshold of 3 certified people before you start scoring points with these intermediate or advanced elective certifications, for want of a better word. And I'll walk through the example in a bit more detail later, so I don't need to go into too much detail here. Again, similar with data and AI, you've got this prerequisite at the top, and then you have 4 points per individual certified with these, and also for the digital app innovation, which is also Azure. So very consistent. When we move on to modern work, one thing to point out here, in fact, there's a couple of things to point out here. One is that there are 2 tracks. There's an SMB track and an enterprise track. From a skilling perspective, the main difference is that the points that you score on the SMB track is twice the score for the enterprise. And I think that's to acknowledge the fact that some SMB partners are going to be smaller and have fewer learners. Therefore, we need to give them additional points to kind of make up the shortfall. The way it works is that with the partner capability score for modern work, your partner organization is evaluated on both SMB and enterprise, and then whichever of the 2 tracks is the highest is the one which is what your ultimate score for modern work will be. For many of the partners on the call, if they're SMB partners, then it's likely to be SMB. If you're a large global multinational, it's very possible that you'll get evaluated against the enterprise track. So just be aware of that difference. And you can see in Partner Center, I'll show you later what that looks like. Another thing to call out on modern work is the, actually, yeah, Reece mentioned it already, the fundamentals piece. And I don't think there's anything else to cover on that. So yeah, just be aware that there are 2 tracks for modern work. Security, this is quite a tricky one. Unlike most of our requirements, this requires a very specific combination of certifications. So the individual has to achieve the Microsoft 365 Security Administrator Associate and the Azure Security Engineer, and the same person needs to also have one of those 3 new SC certifications in order to score. So it's a very, I mean, it's a very tough ask, but I think you know, the number of points that are on offer in this category are quite high, so you can potentially score some significant points here. The reason why this particular category is quite high, you may see that there's no advanced certs from security at the moment. So yeah, just bear that in mind. So actually, on one hand, that does mean you have 1 less category that you need to score more than 0 points in. Moving on to Biz Apps. The interesting aspect on this one is that we have 2 tracks, not based on SMB or enterprise, but based on the market that you were in. What do we mean by market? Well, this is all about the country that you're doing business in, whether that's a developed market or not. And so we have these 2 concepts, which is larger markets, which are countries like the US, the UK, Canada, Australia, many of the European countries. And then we have other markets. So those are perhaps smaller markets in terms of the Microsoft revenue that's being done. Interestingly, there is a docs article, but some of the other markets include countries like India, Poland, and South Africa. So the actual country size, the geographic size, doesn't necessarily determine the whether you're in the larger markets or smaller markets. It's more about the maturity of the Microsoft business within that particular subsidiary in that country. So, you know, most of the people on this call today, I suspect, will be in the larger markets, but have a look on the documentation to see where you are. It will be clear in Partner Center as well, because it will automatically select it for you. Before I move on to the example scenario, are there any questions on that at all? Okay. I'm going to push on just in the interest of time. So I'm just going to run through this nice example I've set here. So we're going to go through and have a look at the partner capability score calculations for a partner who's going for the infrastructure designation. And in this example here, you can see we've got 3 learners, Alice, Bob, and Charlie. At the moment, they have 0 certifications, so they have 0 points. And I'm going to go through step by step and see how the points increase as the certifications increase. So let's say they go on a Fastlane Hack the Cert Azure Administrator Associate course, for example. They all pass their Azure Administrator Associate certification. And you can see at the top there that the prerequisites have now been met for the intermediate skilling. But there are still no points because those prerequisites don't actually score points in and of themselves. So then Alice and Bob and Charlie score, Alice and Bob score some additional certifications. They gain some additional certs, and you can see there they've actually gained some intermediate certs. So the Azure Network Engineer Associate and the Azure Stack Hub Operator Associate. So that's going to score them 4 points per person. Now they've also passed some advanced certifications there, but actually they've not met the prerequisites yet for advanced, so they can't score any points yet. So Charlie then passes the Windows Server Hybrid Administrator Associate, which is another intermediate exam that gives them an extra 4 points, bringing their total to 12 points. And I put this one in here as well, just to illustrate that if then Charlie then goes and passes another intermediate certification, doesn't make a difference. No matter how many of those intermediate certifications he scores in that particular category, he's still going to get 4 points for that. Next thing, we get all of them now passing their Azure Solutions Architect Expert, and you'll see that changes 2 things. Number 1, it means that they now meet the prerequisites for the advanced skilling option. And number 2, more importantly, they're now scoring points for those advanced certifications. So that brings them up to a total of 20 points for skilling. So hopefully that example kind of goes through, sort of walks through some of the kind of common things. And the Azure one is interesting because of the prerequisites. So it often brings out some of the interesting questions, but hopefully that's helped. Now, if you're a partner center administrator, you're trying to, get your head around all of this. The good news is that we've got a lot of support within Partner Center. So Partner Center, since we announced the new program in March, has had the ability for you to look at the new solutions partner designations in there. So looking at the familiar Partner Center screen, if you are a global admin or an NPM partner admin, you'll be able to see this membership tile. And then going in there in the overview section of the solutions partner section, you can see this high level status across all 6 solution areas. And you'll notice that we have the status here. I'd either say in progress, qualified, or not started if you're on 0. You can see the partner capability scores for that solution area. And you can also see the mapping for the previous competencies that your organization had. So let's drill into modern work. And you can see we're on the SMB track here. So let's scroll down to skilling. And you can see here that we've got intermediate certifications, 2 individuals certified. And let's blow this up a little bit and have a look what this looks like. So skilling, this is the category within the partner capability score. This is one of 3, obviously. Intermediate certifications is the subcategory, and it's the name of the scoring indicator. What we're measuring here, the actual KPI, is the individual, not the certification itself, remember. And you can see here we've got the status for the indicator, the total points available, and the points earned in that subcategory. And then clicking things like view details or view requirements. So if you click on view details, it brings up this nice little handy reference for the certifications that are available. And then in view details, it will also bring up the the individuals, the certifications, and it'll link to Partner Center Insights so that you can actually download the view of all of your certified individuals with all the certifications. And if you're not already using Partner Center Insights to download your training report, I highly recommend doing it. On the subject of Partner Center Insights, we've also added some extra functionality in Partner Center Insights to help you with this this new partner capability score. Now, if you want to go into the Partner Center Insights section, you will need to have either the exec report viewer or report viewer or global admin or account admin roles, because you know, there are lots of reports there that and the data in them can be quite comprehensive. So those are relatively it's relatively important to make sure you've got the right people assigned those roles in your organization. So within Insights, if I go into here, one thing that we've done here is we've got we've actually got a more detailed view of the partner capability score. We've also got this new score simulator, which is in preview at the moment. So we're, you know, I think we're still looking for feedback on this. But essentially the way this works is it makes recommendations, and you can add in predictions either based on specific scenarios, or you can actually put in the actual specific certifications that you want to simulate for your partner capability score. And you can do this across all three areas. So you can do this across customer success, you can do it performance and skilling. And then, you know, the way that the score simulator works, it will show you in here, and this example is actually customer success, but you could do the same for skilling. It shows you, you know, if we add 9 DPOR deployments, then we get an extra 22.5 points on the partner capability score. So it's really good for kind of doing a what if scenario for those. So I think that kind of brings me to the end of my bit. I think there's a couple of things I would say. Number one, we do have a range of resources available to all of our partners on both the Cloud Partner Program as a whole and also Partner Capability Score. A lot of these links have been included in the deck, so when you get that deck sent to you, then you should be able to access these links. And also, you know, if I was just going to kind of summarize the things that I would recommend partners do today, number one, check your anniversary date for MPN, because that's going to be an important factor for you to make sure that you know when you need to you know, renew into the new program. Number two, make sure you associate all the learners within your organization in Partner Center, because otherwise you're not getting credit for those. Number three, make sure all of your people with role-based certifications are renewing those role-based certifications, because otherwise they will lose them and they'll need to re-earn those certifications in future. Number four, review the documentation that we have available to you that's linked on this page. And then once you've reviewed the documentation, you can check your current situation, your current PCS scores, decide what your target is going to be as an organization, and then build a plan to get to that point. And then obviously, you know, you can work with either the representatives that you were working with at Microsoft or learning partners like Fastlane to kind of help you to get to that point. With that, I will continue to monitor the chat for any questions, but I think with that, I'll hand back to Fastlane for the wrap for this.
Thanks, Guy. That was great and really insightful. So just as a way of a quick introduction to those who don't know me, my name's Radhika. I'm responsible for the team that is aligned to working with Microsoft partners. So many of you on the call that I can see already work with someone within my team, but I just wanted to sort of reiterate, the team is here to help you through this over the next couple of months. Please get in touch. We can put time in the diary with each one of you to run through the various resources that are provided today, but actually just to also assist with building those skilling plans and how we can really move forward with making it a simple and easy transition for you. Next slide, just some names and details there for you. And just something to, as those that have attended the webinar today, part of the additional value we can offer you is we can help you build the training plans, offer you some discounts on the training, and ensure that the exam vouchers are all built in as well. So do get in touch with your Fastlane BDM, and those that we haven't worked with in the past in detail, we will reach out and share some contact details as well. You will get a copy of the slides and a copy of the recording if you've got colleagues that unfortunately weren't able to attend. So thank you so much for your time. Any other questions? We are around for the next 10 minutes. Happy to stay on.
Yeah, I'm also happy to stay on if anyone has any specific questions that they have that they want to ask on the new program or partner capability score. I'm happy to either answer those in the chat, or I'm not sure if we're able to unmute any of the attendees, but yeah, happy to take any further questions.
Yes, I can unmute anyone that would like to speak. I think by default it's muted everybody, so please put your hand up in the chat. Happy to unmute you and have a conversation. No worries. We'd also welcome any feedback, anything that we could do better next time, or anything that we didn't cover that you'd like to hear from the team.
Radhika, we've just had a question from
Yes, just so we will actually get the slides and the recording to the email that you used to register for the event.
Isaac Cardi. So the question's about benefits. Can we check the benefits we get with more designations? Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, it's kind of out of scope of the presentation today because we're primarily focused on skills. But actually, if you look in the resource gallery for the new program, we have a benefits guide which goes through the new benefits system, and happy to kind of just bring that up now. So hopefully this is what you're looking at. So the idea is that the benefits that you'd achieve are in line with the solution area or the solution partner designation. So if you're going for an Azure solutions partner designation, then you're going to get Azure benefits. If you are going for modern work solutions partner designation, then you'll get modern work benefits. One of the nice things about this this new benefit system is that the benefits are stackable. So for example, for Azure, you can actually stack some of the incremental benefits across all three of your Azure solutions partner designations to incrementally increase that Azure internal use rights credit that you have access to. This is in combination with the benefits that you would get with the advanced specializations, or the specializations as we're calling them now. So You can see this benefits document includes both the underlying solutions partner designations and then the specializations and the advanced specializations that sit, the advanced and expert programs that sit on top. So let's take, for example, the infrastructure benefit here. You can see here, this is the new benefits list and the number of licenses that you achieve. And again, these are incremental and stackable. So if you have the $12,000 of Azure bulk credits here, that can be stacked on top of the bulk credits within, let's say, digital app innovation. One thing to note is that within the presentation, we've also included the recording for, let me just find it, the recording for the program overview. So this one here, which does incorporate things like the renewal process, the benefits, and stuff that we haven't necessarily covered today, but it's still important to know. So if you want to register for this, it's quite long, it's an hour and a bit, but I would strongly recommend making sure that you've familiarized yourself with this, as well as the other information that's in the resource gallery, resource collection, should I say. Hopefully that answers your question. Great.